What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? What day is it? It is Monday, May 11th. My name is Everett Delorme, and welcome to another episode of the Volleyball Journal. And now, I know it's been a while since I've been on here and chatted in live podcast format. If you're just listening to this on audio, I have been making a lot of content over on the YouTube channel, just some shorter form stuff, 20, maybe 30-minute videos, just about everything going on in the world of volleyball, especially getting ready for this international season, covering the professional season. Been doing a lot of live watch-alongs and stuff like that, but I haven't really been doing much of this, just being live, doing a little podcast. And, before I get into everything that's been going on in the world of volleyball over the past week, even though it's been quite a bit longer than a week since I've done one of these, I do think that I want to try to do more live shows on Mondays, especially as the VNL is starting up in just a few weeks' time. I'm still going to be doing all of the content that I've been doing on the YouTube channel. However, I just think that like I know a bunch of you prefer just to listen to it in podcast form. And I think this is just a better way to go about maybe some of the wins and the losses and just get it into one larger format. And you can listen to it on your way to work or whatever it is. And then you can join over on the YouTube and watch some of the other stuff that's been going on as well. And if you are a new fan to Volleyball Source, because we've had quite a few new fans as of late with, all the content that I've been putting out, welcome. This is something that I used to do quite a bit. Used to do a podcast on the 9x9, and now it's called the Volleyball Journal. So you're going to be able to find this as well on all your podcast solutions. So on your Spotify's, on your Apple Podcasts, and all of that stuff. I'm going to do a much better job moving forward at making sure all of that gets up there. All right. But like I said, a lot going on in the world of volleyball. As of late, we saw championship trophies go up in pretty much every country. There is no more pro trophies to go out. Actually, Japan is one that's left, so I apologize to all the Japanese fans, but maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe I can pull up some of the results and stuff like that, because all I know is that it's Osaka against Osaka in the finals, Suntory versus Blue Tian. That's about as far as I know from Japan. Sorry, I know it's a little disappointing, but North America, hard to watch. But we've got the Italian Scudetto has been awarded. Perugia, second time in 3 years, standing at the top of the podium. And I mean, they deserve it. They absolutely dominated. Zawiercie winning their first ever Plus Liga. Awesome to see. Wonderful job over there by Zawiercie. We'll talk about that series quite a bit. Appreciate all of those who tuned in to the watch-alongs throughout the playoff series. It was a lot of fun to just chat with you guys and watch some ball. Berlin also taking it home. Once again, surprise, in the Bundesliga. So we'll touch on that a little bit. Also have Montpellier, who won everything in France. And then we'll also talk about the Dallas Pulse winning the MLV, formerly the PVF, one of the USA women's pro leagues, in just their first year in existence. Also shout out to Shannon Windsor, former Team Canada head coach, for winning that competition. But, first and foremost, we're going to head over to Italy and talk about Perugia winning their third Scudetto. And I mean, they absolutely dominated. They dominated the series 3-0, winning the first game 3-0, and then it was 3-1 and 3-1. And it was just pure and utter domination all the way through. There's no way to possibly say it. It's clear they were the best team in the leg of volley this season. I don't think anyone doubted that heading in, but it was very much so clear as we watched this series progress. Kalachi, MVP. I mean, to me, I think it was just kind of the MVP of the match. I don't think they necessarily give it to the MVP of the series or the MVP of the playoffs. And to me, the reason they're doing this is fully because he has to be retiring. He has to be retiring if Kalachi is actually going to be the MVP. Right? Actually, let's see if they have a post of him as MVP up here. Yeah, there we go. There's Kalachi getting thrown around. I mean, Kalachi is 41 years old. He's been with this team since 2017. When you look at the teams he's played for, he played for Trentino for like 7 years and then played for this Perugia team for another 8 years. So he's been around for quite a long time. Actually, it looks like he played for Verona a little bit as well there too, but really not that much movement out there for Massimo Colacci. But he is named as the MVP. I mean, you could have given it to a lot of guys. Gianelli would have been an obvious one. Bentara would have been an obvious one. So that's one of those that's like, a little political, if you want to say. That was obviously named by the team. And I mean, I don't really need to go into the stats of this series all that much to tell you that they just dominated all the way through. I really don't. It was complete and utter domination. Sorry about that. It was just complete and utter domination by Perugia all the way through. I mean, Bentara led them in scoring in this game and in the playoffs. And I mean, look at these stats from game number 4. They just made 2 unforced errors in hitting, 7 aces to 19 errors. They passed 50% and 27% positive and perfect, and had 8 blocks as a team, as opposed to Lube, who, scored a little less throughout this one. Actually, technically, they scored a little bit more. They had 56 kills in game number 3. Perugia had 47, but Lube made 5 errors in attack, got aced a little bit more, also made 32 service errors. That, to me, is really what came down to why this series wasn't maybe as good as it could have been, is Lube were just error monsters from the baseline. They were just making errors left, right, and center from the baseline the entire time, and really couldn't put that much pressure on Verona. When they were serving well, they were one of the best serving teams in the world. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But it was so few and far between that they were able to do that. And then they just really couldn't get their passing going. And I know, there's a lot of people in the Discord who laugh about it when I call Lube the best passing team in the Lega Volleyball. In the regular season, they were. Statistically, they were the best passing team in the Lega Volley. And I mean, this game is a perfect example. They didn't pass terribly, 44% and 25%, but only going to Gargiulo 6 times. Podeshanin got 9 sets. So just really not that much volume to the middle for Lube, and they just ended up playing Nikolov ball. We could talk about Nikolov ball all day, but I don't think we really need to all that much, because I don't think we need to focus that much on what Lube did or didn't do, because to me, a lot of what this match was what came down to how good Perugia was. They were outstanding, right? This was clearly a team that remembered what had happened last year. Lube came back after being down 0-2 in the semifinals and reverse swept this Perugia team in the semifinals, and they remembered that, and they went out there and executed. They left no questions whatsoever about who was the better team on the court. 100%. And I mean, the offense that Gianelli ran was chef's kiss, impeccable. Bentara with 23 attempts, Semeniuk and Plotnitsky both with 19 apiece. 8 for Lozère in the middle, who came in for Sebastian Solé, who looked like he had maybe injured himself at a certain point. He did come back on the court a little bit later. 8 for Roberto Russo. It was just a masterclass in how to play volleyball from Perugia throughout the entirety of this series. So maybe I'll actually do a breakdown, like a video breakdown of one of their matches, just to kind of show you guys what I've seen from this Perugia team, because they were steady. They were, level-headed. It did kind of look for a second in match number 1, like Lube was able to keep things close. Or sorry, not match number 1. In set number 1, I apologize. Lube was able to keep things close all the way through. Other than being down by 4 at one point, they were able to lessen that gap, came back, won it right at the end. And it did kind of a feeling that Lube would have to kind of steal a match. I did say on my live stream that if Lube was able to, because especially like Lube did kind of choke away the second set too. I guess it was on Wednesday when this game was. They were up by 4, 21-17, ended up losing that match 26, or that set 26-24, which is a little bit hurt. Yeah, had they been able to go up 2-0 and win this game in Perugia, I think we would have come back to Perugia for a game number 5. I think if Lube would have been able to win a game on the road in Perugia, which we knew they were terrible at all throughout the season, that they would be able to turn around and win, game number 4 at home in front of their home crowd in Lube, and then bring it back to Perugia for game number 5. I'm not making any predictions past that. Ultimately, I think Perugia would have won, but big shout out to Perugia for winning this season, right? Once again, they were just the better team. They served better, they passed better, they blocked better, they attacked better, they played better defense. They were the better team through and through. I think Lorenzetti outcoached Madej. I think Gianelli set circles around Boniface. Sure, Alex Nikolov was the best offensive player in this series. I mean, he scored 25 points. He was also the leader in scoring over the course of the playoffs as well, too. Just if you look the stats here, Nikolov was the top scorer in the playoffs, averaged 5.19 points per set while scoring 192 points. Keita was number 2 with 153 points, but he averaged 4.94 points per set, whereas Bentara also had 153 points, but averaged just 4.50. I mean, Bentara played more matches. He played in the finals. He won it all, basically. But yeah, Lube was just far and above the better team, and there was no point in this series where I really thought they weren't going to win. Especially after the way they dominated match number 1, I didn't think there was going to be any point in this series where they weren't going to win it, and they proved me and everyone else right. They absolutely dominated. So good for them. And I mean, because they won this game on last Wednesday too, they basically they get an entire week and a half to get ready for the Champions League, which will start on Saturday as well. That I'm not going to talk too much about the Champions League today. I think that's going to just come in an altogether separate video in on itself. I'm also just going to bring this because I keep on cutting myself off a little bit. So just making sure that, I don't look super weird when I'm out there. Of course, talking about this Perugia team, they will be going through some changes for next year, right? This will be a different team that we will see altogether for next season. A little bit. Of course, no Bentara, which I think is going to be a big thing. I'll talk about that in a second. No Ishikawa. And also you're going to have, we're all assuming that Kalachi is going to be retiring because, make sure that's not weird looking. We're all going to make sure, we're all expecting Kalachi to retire, especially after he was given that MVP. As Luki Dori is saying in the chat, Kalachi getting MVP will forever be hilarious. They just should have made up an award for him. Because, I mean, if you watch this series at all, you'll know that Kalachi was probably the weakest Perugia player on the court. But, I'm not going to call him a legend, but he is a Perugia legend, playing for as many years as he did, winning. I think he won all 3 Scudettos with them as well, too. And, but when you talk about this Perugia team, no more Bentara next year, no more Ishikawa coming off the bench, and then probably no more Kalachi as well. I'm sure some of the bench guys will be leaving too, but that's less of an issue. Now, once again, I think it's pretty funny because if you remember back when Bentara joined this team, and what was it, 2023, I was a little resistant to it. Because the year before they had Jesus Herrera and Kamil Ritzlicki, and I thought, that was good enough. I didn't see why they were going out to get Bentara. Because especially, if you want to remember Bentara back at that time, he was playing for Stalnissa. It's not like he was playing for a big Plus Liga team. It's not like he was a big known player. And I thought it was a little interesting because they were going after him, and he was a little unproven. Now, ultimately, I was wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. And I thought that he's been outstanding. He was the centerpiece of this team for a long time. And he was the centerpiece of their offense, especially early on this year when Plotnitsky and Semeniuk and Nishikawa weren't having the best offensive seasons. Bentara really carried them. So I was wrong at the time, and now it's going to be funny because I'm going to be defending him. It kind of sucks that they're going out and replacing Bentara with Ferry Regers. Now, Regers is elite. This is a much different situation. You're not going to get out in someone unproven like Bentara, who's played for a team that couldn't even make the playoffs in the Plus Liga. Regers has now been one of the most elite scorers in the Lega Volley for a number of seasons. We saw what he did at the World Championships this past year with Belgium. We all know that Regers is elite, but I do kind of feel for Bentara. But at least he gets to finish his career with Perugia on a high. We'll see how this weekend goes with the Champions League as well. But, you know, I do know that there's a lot of people out there who really criticize Gino Cerci quite a bit and the way that he runs his team and the right way that he goes after players. But I'm actually going to defend him. And I'm actually going to go one further than that. I'm actually going to applaud him. Because the reality is we need more owners in volleyball like Gino Cerci. We need more owners who are willing to go and continuously try to make their team better, who are going to put their money where their mouth is and go out and try to make their team better on a regular basis. Gino Cerci does that maybe than anyone else, but like better than anyone else in men's volleyball. There's no doubt about it. He's continuously looking to make this team better. And you know what? You can laugh at how long it's taken them to, win another Scudetto with Leon, or laugh at the fact that they lost to Milano in the playoffs a few years ago. But the reality, why we're laughing at these things is because the expectations with these teams are so high because he has the ability to go out and assemble the best players possible. Right? He has the ability to go out and put together what year in and year out we call the best teams in volleyball. So I actually have a lot of respect for Gino Cerci. I have a lot of respect. Yes, Ozzy, you can absolutely laugh at his antics. However, it does seem like we've talked a lot less about Gino Cerci over the past year. I don't know if he's had that many antics, And the last thing I'm going to say about Cerci through all of this is that basically, Gino Cerci is a guy who built this club from the ground up, right? There's a lot of other teams out there who bought their license from another failed team, right? Another team that was falling away. I'm pretty sure that's what Lublin did. I'm pretty sure that's what Trentino did as well too. But this is a team that Gino Cerci bought and has built up since Series C, right? So he has built this team up for 20 plus years to be what we call the best team in the world. And I think we need to provide a lot of respect for this man for doing that, because he's continuously put together one of the best teams in the world. And every single time he looks for a way to make his team better, he does. And I have a lot of respect to that. And I mean, look at them. They're heading back to another Champions League Final Four. They're looking to make it back-to-back. And they just won another Scudetto title. And they've got the roster to potentially go and do another one next year. So I can't say that I have anything but respect for Gino Cerci. Now, when we're talking about the team on the other side of the net, I think you need to really look at this Lublin team and say maybe their luck just ran out against Perugia, right? They ultimately just matched up horribly against Perugia this season, all throughout the regular season and into the playoffs as well. And honestly, if you look at their season, I think if you're a Lublin fan, you're happy they made it back to the another playoffs. This is 2 years in a row when getting into the playoffs, you're kind of looking at them being I don't know if we're really ready to make it even out of the first round. Maybe not last year, but having Perugia in the semifinals, no one expected them to really get past that except for them. And then this year as well. Now, you can definitely say that this is a team that the result would have been much different had Trentino been the team we expected them to be, with Micheletto, with Lavia in the quarterfinals, but we can't play that game. But then you also can't say that they didn't deserve to win their semifinal series against Verona, right? That's something that was clear to me, is that they dominated Verona in that semifinal series, and there's no way to doubt that in my mind, right? They dominated that series. They were hands down the better team, and they deserved to be in the finals. No doubt about it. But this team, had its limits. Once again, they needed to be the best serving team. And when you miss 32 serves in a 4-set match, that's not going to be good enough. Just plain and simple. That will not be good enough. And at the end of the day, this was a team that had some real big ups and downs throughout the year. It didn't have much depth at all, especially once Perugia left. So there's another issue as well. They really struggled down the middle. And that's where I think, you can talk about the 3 outside hitter system all you want. You can talk about Nikolov ball all you want, where I really think where they struggled was down the middle. They just didn't have, last year having Chininiese and Gargiulo is a much bigger difference than having Gargiulo and an aging Podashanin and Wout de Heer, who is playing not like he was expected to be. De Heer was quite decent last year with Toronto. He did not become the player that everyone needed him to be this year, and that's why we had aging Podashanin into the finals. So I think, honestly, before pointing the finger at Bonifante, and then before pointing the finger at the outside group, you need to look at the middles and them just not having enough stability in the middle, right? They needed to be, especially if you are a good serving team, you need to be a good blocking team. That's just how it is. You're serve and block go hand in hand together like Lego blocks. They need to be the same thing. And if you're not, then you're not. Right? And they were not a good enough blocking team. I haven't really looked at the stats to see how they blocked this year compared to last year, but I'm almost guaranteed that it's not the same when you're looking from Chininiese to whoever they had in there, whether it was De Heer or Tenorio or Podashanin. Right? So there's that. Now, also the 3 outside hitter system, I think it can work, but there just needs to be a higher level of execution. And this year when they were good, we saw that execution be higher, but it couldn't be just Nikolov ball. And to me, that's where it comes down to Bonifante. Bonifante can be a good setter, but he can also get into his own head. His location is a little iffy at times. And then when he gets tunnel vision, it just starts going outside. Nikolov. And I've talked about this before. I think Nikolov is one of the best hitters out of system. But in system, it's he scores on the ones that are hard and can't seem to score on the easier balls. So I would have liked to see him vary that offense a little bit more. And going back to the middles, you can't vary that offense if you don't have middle blockers. That's just case in point, the way it is. But at the end of the day, once again, I think this Lube team needs to be pretty happy by making it back to another Scudetto finals. They'll be playing Champions League once again next year. And also, let's be real, this Lube team, this Lube team is going to be one of the biggest and most watched teams in the world next year. They're going to be the most scrutinized team in the world next year because they're bringing in Moni. The fact that you're going to have the Nikolov show on one set in the ball, one hit in the ball. We all saw what they were able to do this year or last year at the World Championships together. What is this team going to look like when it comes down to having Moni Nikolov in there? And I've talked about it at length, but I do think that Moni Nikolov is going to help this team quite a bit. It doesn't look like there's too much information about who else is on this team. Are they going to be going out and getting a different opposite? Are they going to bring another backup? Are they staying with the 3 outside hitter system? From all what I understand, I think they're staying with the 3 outside hitter system, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't exactly know that for a fact. Right? So this team is going to be one of the most scrutinized teams in the world next year, and it's great they're going to be playing in the Champions League. And and honestly, I do think that the Plus Liga playoffs this year came down to a little bit of rock, paper, scissors. Right? We had a situation where Perugia would beat Lube, but potentially lose to Verona. Lube would beat Verona and lose to Perugia, whereas Verona could beat Perugia, and we saw them do it a number of times. And also lose to Lube. And that's why we watch, right? That is why we're watching volleyball, because that's what makes it fun. the fact that there's so much uncertainty between those three teams. It's just too bad that Trentino ultimately didn't have their team as we would have liked down the line. But ultimately, once again, congrats to Perugia, congrats to Lube on a fantastic season, making it to the finals. I thought Lube was really entertaining to watch. When they were good, they were really good. When Boniface was slinging that ball and running that offense, it was a lot of fun to watch. They were a high offensive team, and that series with Verona had so much potential. Just too bad that Verona kind of broke down. Keita got injured, and Darlin ended up being a dud in the semifinals. But ultimately, once again, congrats to Perugia. Now, moving on to the other championship that was awarded. This one just yesterday, as congratulations, Svata Zawiercie winning their first ever Plus Liga title. And I mean, on one side of the spectrum, we have the Lube Perugia series, which was kind of a dud, domination by Perugia. And on this one, man, this one was entertainment at its finest. All the way through was this series entertaining. You had Zawiercie dominate match number one. Match number two was a bit of a back and forth, but Lublin was able to squeak it away. Then Lublin dominates match number three. Zawiercie nowhere close to them. And then Zawiercie up against the ropes, down 2-1. They lose set number one in game 4, come back, force a game 5 at home, get absolutely throttled. Absolutely throttled, right? If you joined my watch along, 15-12 in set number 1 for Lublin. Zawiercie made like 11 errors in set number 1 of game number 5. It was crazy how bad Zawiercie was in set number 5. Set number 1 in game number 5. And then they just managed to get things going a little bit, pick it up, push it through. And, ultimately, and I mean, even Komenda was out there saying in the press that he thought, Zawiercie deserved to win. They were the best team throughout the regular season. They were the best team in the league throughout the year. And I fully agree. I think the Zawiercie team fully deserved to win the Plus Liga this year. They were so dominant in every aspect of the game. And, they when their side out offense was clicking, not like the first set on Sunday where they had a -5 efficiency. Aaron Russell couldn't put the ball anywhere near the court. When their side out offense was clicking, it was completely dominant and could not be touched. And it was just by like to me, when I look at the Zawiercie team, you don't have any big superstars. Who can you point at to be a big superstar? Like Aaron Russell was the MVP. He was outstanding all year. I think he's put together 2 fantastic seasons for the Zawiercie team, but he's not exactly a superstar on the left side. Bovanj was called a choker by many people in the Discord and around the volleyball world. There's some people who commented that very same thing on the YouTube channel. He showed up huge. You got a 42-year-old Yuri Glader down the middle. Biniak is probably the closest thing you come to like a superstar out there. You have Miguel Tavares, who is super underrated. Krolek, who is super underrated. Actually, Popivchek is probably the closest thing you're going to come to a superstar as well. But yeah, I love the composition of this Zawiercie team because they just played the game in every phase so damn well. They serve tough. They block fantastic. They play great defense. Their side-out game, as I said, can be impeccable. We talked about Lube's deficiencies down the middle. This is a team that has middle galore. Glader and Biniak were such dominant forces down the middle. And to me, that's where everything stemmed from. And Biniak was a little bit up and down in this series. Yuri Glader is really the guy. He can be an offensive powerhouse. He can be a blocking powerhouse. He can serve aces, right? Let's see. He had 11 points. Glader finished game number 5 with 11 points. He was 4 for 5 in attack, 5 blocks, and 2 aces. That's insane from a 42-year-old. Yuri Glader, man. And ultimately, like, Glader is the type of player coaches love. He is not only so good on the court, at the net, offense, defense, from the baseline, scoring aces, putting teams in bad problems, but he is the emotional center of that team as well. Yuri Glader, to me, is 100% the emotional center of that team. And the way that he shows up just with the passion and the intensity, chef's kiss, or whatever you're going to say in Poland. Because he is a special player, and it's really too bad that he is going to be moving on. Right? I was out there praising a 38-year-old Simone, and I mean, not to take anything from Simone, but Yuri Glader, man, 42 years old, still out there balling, 11 points. You want to talk about a Landy line? He doubled the amount of attempts he had for points. Landy line in the finals, he doubled the amount of 5 attempts, 11 points. Yo. Crazy work by the 42-year-old Yuri Glader. So yeah, like once again, like that's one of the reasons why Zawiercie to me was so damn good. You've got solid guys down the middle who can score and who can block. You've got weapons everywhere, right? Kwolek is out there saying that he had one of his worst playoffs. And I won't disagree with him. He was really good in this match, though. 10 for 18 overall, hit a 44% efficiency. Didn't score any aces, but passed solid, 48% and 19%. Had 4 digs as well. Kwolek is such a necessary player overall on this team. As I said before, Aaron Russell, MVP, well-deserved. Aaron Russell scored 0 points in set number 1. He was 0 for 5 in attack. 0 points in set number 1. Finished the game 16 with a team high. Aaron Russell. Where's Grudy? Is Grudy in the chat right now? Grudy was on the Discord chirping, being like, oh, you're mad the Americans beat the Canadians? One, if there was one team I wanted to beat Lublin, because, yeah, I was a little biased. I wanted Lublin to win. I wanted 3 Canadians to win the Plus Liga. I wanted Finn McCarthy to be back-to-back Plus Liga champion. I wanted Simone to be a back-to-back Plus Liga champion. Sue me, okay? But if there was one team who I was happy they won, it was Zawiercie. I've loved, ever since I've watched the Plus Liga, Zawiercie was one of my favorite teams to watch. I know within the Discord we were always a little bit biased based off of Zaksa, because, you know, we had people like Adnos and a lot of big Zaksa fans, and I do love Zaksa too. But everything Zawiercie stands for, there's fans who are outstanding. Some of the best fans in volleyball. Just the little antics they do in their small little ass gym. I love it. Love it. And then when, I travel the world at volleyball events and I get to meet Polish people, Shout out to my boy Oscar from Volley Station. And he tells me, I've worked with a bunch of these different clubs, but Zawiercie is one of the best ones. So yeah, I love to see this team win right now. The fact that it was against Lublin, it doesn't really matter too much for me all that much. I think when you look at this Lublin team, I think once again you have to say they had another fantastic year. And they had like you can look at this series and say that it was almost polar opposite to what we had last year in the Plus Liga finals, right? Last year, Zawiercie came limping in to the finals. Couldn't get the job done. They were a much different team. Was Aaron Russell injured? I can't remember who was injured, but someone was injured. Someone was injured last year for Lublin, or for Zawiercie. And then this year, when you look at this Lublin team, it's way different, right? Sasak has been injured most of the year. You've got the whole situation with Nikolai Savitsky, right? He was so important for them over the course of the playoffs last year. And thanks, Ozzy. Yeah, Aaron was injured. Aaron was injured. Savitsky not able to play just because of bad lab results. Hiller Heno injured in the finals. Jakub Wachnik injured in the finals. Sasak injured most of the way that Malinovsky really stepped up. And this is still a team that was able to, make it past Warszawa, like the way they played against Warszawa in the the quarterfinals of the Champions League. I honestly didn't think Lublin was going to be able to make it back to the finals. But ultimately, they're in back-to-back Plus Liga finals, have once again qualified for the Champions League next year. And you love to see it. So, yeah, they didn't play the greatest. They had the opportunities to clutch the series back at home. I do think the better team won, though. I'll be very honest about that. I do think the better team won. It would have been nice to see what this team looked like kind of fully healthy. But that's sports, right? You can't always be fully healthy when you go down the line. So yeah, this team was just really like this one. Once again, you talk about serving teams who need to be really good. Lublin was at times one of the best serving teams in the world this year. 3 aces, 27 errors. What can you do? Right? Honestly, I do have to look a little bit at my guy Finn McCarthy, who was one of like the third best server in the Plus Liga this year. 8 errors in that final match, leading his team in errors from the baseline. So, yeah, it was a little tough. No, Luki Dori. Bovanj was playing for Warszawa last year. Butrin was playing for Zawiercie. As there's a little discussion in the chat right now about who's going on there. So yeah, Lublin to me was a team that needed to be able to serve really, really good and also pass well. And they just weren't able to pass well. They weren't able to take away enough receptions from Leon. But to me, this doesn't really hurt Leon's legacy at all. Look at these offensive stats. 16 for 27. Yeah, he got blocked twice. No unforced errors. He hit 59% with a 51% efficiency. That's still monster numbers from the GOAT out there. I think one of the biggest things that we have to be upset about is the fact that they didn't play the way they did against Warszawa in the semifinals, in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Because, man, how hype would a Lublin against Perugia Champions League semifinals be right about now? That would be so sick. Everyone would be down with it, right? But yeah, it does almost like it. You look at the times when he's lost, like if you look at this, or like when Poland loses at the Olympics, and the numbers that he's able to put up. Even like everyone can maybe point to, hey, Perugia won a Lega volley without him, blah blah blah. He was coming off the bench. You go back to that Scudetto finals and look at the times he came in off the bench and look at the matches that he played. He was an integral part. Despite being injured most of that season and despite coming off the bench, they do not win that Scudetto back in 2024 if it's not for Wilfredo Leon. So, yeah, ultimately, it's just too bad. Looking at some of the awards here, shout out to Jakob Balzrak on X or Twitter. Dream team for the Plus Liga 2026. Miguel Tavares is the best setter. Bovanj, the best opposite. You got Biniek, best middle. Grozanov, best middle. Leon, best outside. Russell, best outside. Papivchek, best libero. Clearly didn't do clearly it was just the top from the top two teams, but still, I agree with that. If you're going to look at just the teams in the finals, MVP of the finals matches, Bart Bovanj. Yeah, I'll agree with that. He was super steady. Talk about a guy who's been called a choker quite a bit, and really showed up with consistent performances, match in and match out throughout the finals for Zawiercie. Yeah, Bovanj, outstanding. MVP of the playoff phase, Malinovsky. Undersized, underused, really showed up huge for Lublin down the stretch. Discovery of the league season, Bartosz Gomułka. Yeah, 100%. The way he came in off the bench, Weber, not it. Kind of disappointing, to be honest, but the way that Gomułka went and played for Warszawa down the line, really outstanding. Best foreign player, Aaron Russell, 100%. Coach of the season, Mikhail Winiarski. Yup. MVP of the league, Aaron Russell. Yup. I've said it before that Aaron Russell, we've talked about it in the Discord for sure, that Aaron Russell probably deserved to be the MVP, and he was. So you love to see that. You absolutely love to see that. And, when talking about this Zawiercie team, yeah, sir, they still have next weekend, right? You've still got, I'll be mad. I'm going to tell you now, I'm a little mad. I'm going camping this weekend and I'm missing the Champions League. I may be watching it on my phone. I may be watching it on my phone, but I can't like do any streams or anything like that. And I won't be like dialed in, you know? And I'm a little upset because especially that Zierotbank Zawiercie, the battle of the Zs, of the Zs if you're in the United States, freedom alphabet. I think it's going to be an outstanding match. And Warszawa, yeah, like I think they're going to get like they could come out with an outstanding performance, maybe upset Perugia, who knows? But I think that Zawiercie Zierotbank match is going to be chef's kiss, outstanding, and whoever is going to face up against Perugia is going to put up a big fight in the final. I think it is going to be a lot of fun to watch, right? But if you want to look a little bit further, let's see if he has it on his profile here. I don't think he necessarily does, but Zierotbank is going to be, sorry, not Zierotbank, Zawiercie is a team who is going to be changing quite a bit for next year. They're pretty much not losing anything. I'm pretty sure the only guy that they're losing is Yuri Glatter, which I hate. I hate. He is an emotional center of this team, but this is a team who are picking up. This is a team who is picking up Tomasz Fornal, Kokonowski down the middle, Kamil Rychlicki. In addition to all the guys that you're going to have. So now your outside team is going to be Fornal, Russell, and Folek. I think things are going to get messy. And now you're going to have to side against Bart Bovant, who just led you to a championship, was the MVP of the playoffs, and Kamil Rychlicki, who was the leading scorer in the Plus Liga this year. I think it's too much. And you're losing one of your passionate center players of your team. I don't know. I know it's a little too early to be talking about this, but I am worried. I am worried for what like Zawiercie is going to be looking for. I think it's going to be subtraction due to addition. Too many good players, too many cooks in the kitchen. Look at what happened to Resovia this year. This is like, I love this team so much. I am questioning what this team is going to look like next season. But that's another conversation altogether. I talked about Lublin. And everything that they're doing. Oh, also, going back real quick, one more thing. I am so happy for these Zawiercie fans that they were able to go out and win a Plus Liga. So happy for these Zawiercie fans. Like, this is a fan base. Like, they joined the Plus Liga back in 2017. 2022, they got third. 2023, they got fourth. 2024 and 2025, they got second. And finally, after 5 years of being in the top four, they finally managed to finally managed to grab their first championship. And once again, this is some of the best fans in volleyball, bar none. One of my goals is to be able to go to their gym, their small ass gym, and stand in that wall of fans and just be rowdy with them all match long. I would love that so much. So much. But yeah, when looking at this Lublin team, once again, you have to be pretty impressed with what they did. They won the Super Cup. They won the Polish Cup. Made it back to a second straight final. Qualified for the Champions League once again, and that's coming in and having to pick up a young Jackson Young because Nikolai Savitsky can't play because of false lab tests. You've got two young outsides. All of the injuries they had this year. Vochnik being injured, Sasek being injured most of the year, Heno being injured for the finals. Even Leon was injured as well too, right? I think I heard he has like a fracture in his hand somewhere, and he was still out there putting the numbers that he did in the finals. So I think if you're a Lublin fan, you're pretty happy with all of this. Now, let me find it here real quick, because there is a list of Lublin players who are moving. That's right. Ozzy, I got it, Kate, because like whenever I talk about like big Canadian players, they always come from Alberta, they come from McMaster, they come from Trinity Western, they come from UBC. Like Nipissing University When I was playing volleyball, Nipissing University was a college. They played in the college leagues. And Eric Young has done such a good job because he can't get any recruits. It's so hard to get recruits to go up to North Bay, which I'm going to hold my tongue and only say nice things about North Bay. Real nice people up there, but it's a little damn cold. It's a little cold in North Bay. It's like 5 hours north of Toronto. So you're in Canada there. You're in Canada if you're up in North Bay. And it's a small little school. And, Jackson turned down bigger schools like McMaster, ended up going to Nipissing, and had what I thought was a really good year. And for one of the best teams in the world. I love that for him, okay? So don't be chirping me over there. But yeah, just looking here at the list of players who are going to be leaving this Lublin team. Finn McCarthy is leaving. He's going to Blution. Heno going to Padova. Jackson Young going to Altekma in the Turkish League. Talis Hos going to Avia Svidnik of Poland. Never heard of that. Chirek, their backup libero. Who it's Avia Svidnik? Is that a team coming to the Plus Liga next year? That has to be wrong. There's no way Talis Hos is going to a second division Plus Liga team. That's wrong. I'm gonna have to go ask in the Discord after this because there's no way that's right. Same thing with the Chirek going to Lechia Tomaszów. That must be another second division Polish team. But regardless, you're losing McCarthy, Heno, Young, and Hos. But at the same time, they are allegedly going out and picking up Ron Takahashi, which is a legitimate P2. We've seen what Ron Takahashi can do with someone. Ron, you can run really, really well in system. You can run Leon out of system, no problem at all. And they're picking up Ogawa, apparently, in libero position. So I do think that's maybe like a lateral move from Talis Hos to Ogawa. Ogawa might be a little bit better on defense, but Talis is pretty solid in serve receive. Heno apparently was injured. From the information that I've been getting, apparently Heno was injured in the finals, and that's why we didn't see him in the end. But yeah, some interesting moves here for this Lublin team. But once again, they will be in the Champions League next year. Okay, now moving on. Is there anything else to say about Plus Liga? Oh yeah, shout out to Warszawa. They won the semifinal series as well. I think they won it in 4, if I'm not mistaken. No, sorry, yeah, they won the bronze medal in 4. Varsovia did manage to get one other win, but Warszawa will be the 3rd team out of the Plus Liga in the Champions League next year. So well deserved. After making it to the final 4 this year in the Champions League, they will be headed back next year. And I honestly think this final standing is pretty indicative of what it looked like throughout this year. Varsovia continues the curse. They can't seem to figure it out. Warszawa, despite their coach leaving, still managed to have a pretty decent season. Lublin, lots of injuries, and Zawiercie, first place in the regular season, first place in the playoffs, first ever championship. You love to see it. All right, moving on now to the Bundesliga. To the Bundesliga, where once again the Deutsche Meister goes to Berlin. Not much to say about it. This one, if you want to talk to me about being salty, that's not what I wanted to do. I apologize. If you want to talk to me about being salty that, the team that I wanted to win didn't win, it would definitely be this one. No doubt about it. And it's not even the fact that I wanted Canadians to win. It was just the fact that I wanted Lundberg to win. It seems like they've been on the cusp for so long. They finally won the German Cup this year, ended Berlin's streak. And yeah, like you guys are in the chat were saying, like we really thought this was going to be the year. And once again, it just wasn't down the stretch for Lundberg. On the other side, I really want to give a shout out to Berlin. I thought they did they started this year crazy bad. One of their worst starts of all time. And Berlin had a really good second half of the season. They had a really good second half of the season. I mean, Jake Haynes dominated down the stretch for this Berlin team, 28 points in game number 2. He was the MVP as well, well-deserved. Very well-deserved by Jake Haynes. I don't know if we're ever going to see him get another sniff at the American national team again, but you gotta wonder. He's the only American opposite who's out there putting up numbers that can even come close to Matt Anderson's, and Matt Anderson's getting pretty old now. So maybe with Karch involved, maybe they'll give Jake Haynes. I think I can't really speak to Jake Haynes' on-court antics. I've spoken to him a couple of times off court, and he seems to be a very a chill, nice dude. But I have seen him kind of go off the court. But he is dominant. This is a guy who can put up points time and time again. He went 24 for 44, he hit 55%, only made one unforced error. And he's a guy who can go out there on any given night and give you 20 easy. Easy. A lot of you in the chat are saying that this should have been Lundberg's year, and I agree. Benedict is saying that all outside sick or injured for Lundberg, which is a little tough. Also, they're missing Jesse Elser, too, who was their captain. If you guys aren't aware, their father, Jesse and Matthias, is the elder. Elser had a stroke recently, so Jesse left the team to go be back in Canada with his family, which, you have to be, of course, in that moment. Also, if you go and buy a Pit to Pro shirt on their website, all donations or all purchases go to the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Canada. So if you guys want to go do that too, if you want. But it just looked like Lundberg started the year really good and then just lost some steam. And I thought if there's going to be any match they're going to be able to steal one, it would have been here at home. But ultimately they were not, and Berlin wins another championship. But I do want to give a shout out to Jake Haynes. I thought he was outstanding down the stretch. Also, Fedor Ivanov. A lot of people were questioning him because you had the two Finnish setters in this final, Fedor Ivanov for Berlin, and then Santeri Valima for Lundberg as well. And I looked at the beginning of the season, it looked like Lundberg would have been, Valima was doing a much better job with Lundberg, but down the stretch, Ivanov really showed up well. I'm gonna have to talk about Beandog in the Discord to see how he feels about that. But yeah, once again, big shout out to Berlin winning yet another Bundesliga. Also, Jonas, very big shout out to Duren. I thought Duren had a fantastic season. I had a soft spot for that Duren team because it was basically a U Sports team. Zach Hutchison had a great year. Jordan Canham had a great year. You also had Robin Baghdadi. He's not Canadian, but he played at Brandon for a lot of years. Same thing with Philip Lauder. Once again, not Canadian. He's German, but also played at Brandon. Was the MVP of the U Sports National Championship last year. So a lot of Canadian content and U Sports content on that Duren team. So that's probably the team that I watched the most. I was personally really hoping for a Duren Lundberg finals, and then just with the standings it didn't really work out all that much. And then also Friedrichshafen too. That's another team who started the year poorly, and I mean it is a little bit of that Savicki dominoes because Savitsky can't play, so then Jackson Young gets called up to play for Lundberg. He was supposed to play year number 3 for Friedrichshafen. They go out and pick up Jonas Van Heusen, another Canadian from Prague. Van Heusen ends up having a big year. Big shout out to Jonas Van Heusen as well for Friedrichshafen. And they ended up righting the ship and going to like winning a game against Berlin in the semifinals. It looks like Van Heusen also had to get shoulder surgery at the end of the year, which is too bad because I would have thought that he would have been like, he was someone that Team Canada was very stoked about having in the gym on the B team last year. And, you know, if anyone knows anything about Jordan Canham, you know how hard he hits the ball. And they were saying, I was hearing reports that like Van Heusen was hitting just as hard as Jordan Canham, which is crazy. So I really wish him a speedy recovery as well. Just a little bit more Canadian content. Actually, we've got Canadian content all throughout here. Someone was, you know, trying to beef with me. Not actually beef with me, but just, you know, kind of make fun of me that my Canadians had lost in the Plus Liga. But like once again, you had Canadians in the Lega Volley finals, and the Plus Liga finals, and the Turkish League finals, and the Bundesliga finals, and the French League finals. We're everywhere, okay? More Canadians in finals than Americans. Actually, I don't know if that's a real stat. Don't stat me on that. No hate whatsoever. But yeah, heading over to the French League where Montpellier steamrolled Poitiers in the finals, 3-0 and 3-0. But I mean, you kind of knew that with just how good this team had been down the stretch. To me, it's all about the man in this picture that you're seeing in front of you. If you're listening on audio, it's Matias Sanchez. The man beside the guy holding the trophy. Matias Sanchez is probably one of the most underrated setters in the world. And I say bigger, and that is a bit of a misdirect because he is the shortest player in volleyball who's not a libero. But just runs just a fantastic offense. Such a fantastic offense. You know, you're looking at, I think this is game 1. Yeah, that must have been game 1 of the finals. You have 3 of his attackers in double digits. Simon Hirsch, Thomas Pascual, and Ezequiel Palacios. Same thing when you move on to game number 2. You have 4 of his attackers in double digits. They hit 59% as a team. Palacios, Le Goff, Simon Hirsch, and Thomas Pascual once again. So Montpellier just absolutely steamrolled Poitiers in the finals. Although, shout out to Poitiers for making the finals. Shout out to Maple Volley's head honcho there, Dan Lewis, in only his second year coaching pro, making the finals. I mean, this is a team that I actually quite like. Fan favorite, Antonel Chaboissin leading this team offensively. You got Lucas Massa down the middle as well. Kevin Cobreen, the former UCLA standout, on the right side. You got Pierce Ashenko, former Trinity Western standout down the middle as well there too. Yeah, just also, why am I blanking on this? Oh wait, I can go to Zach Hollins. Yeah, shout out to Zach Hollins as well. Sherbrooke Varéor. So yeah, just another little note there. That fun how the biggest setter and the smallest setters made it to the finals. I mean, you're being a little unfair there by calling Chaboissin the biggest setters because he's not the tallest setter. He's the biggest setter. Okay, he's more suited for rugby, let's say, than volleyball. But he does have silky smooth hands, right? Seeing any clips from them and just the way he runs that offense, chef's kiss, beautiful. You'd love to see it. And then finally, just to wrap things up, we're going to talk about the MLV, formerly the PVF, just one of the pro leagues in the United States, and Dallas, the Dallas Pulse, winning the championship 3-2 over Omaha in the finals on Saturday, I believe. Shout out to MVP Sofia Maldonado Diaz out of the Mexican national team. 26 kills, 12 digs, 6 blocks in the finals. Pretty gross overall. That's a pretty gross stat line. I don't know why they have their stats page like this. I guess you must have 6 blocks touches because the stats are just showing 1 block there for Maldonado Sofia Maldonado Diaz. Also, shout out to former women's Maple Volleys head coach Shannon Windsor, who was the head coach of Dallas this year. Omaha upset Indy. Indy was the number 1 team coming in to the playoffs. Omaha, arguably one of the most popular volleyball teams in the world, who consistently set records above like 13, 14,000 people, making it back to another playoff final. Merritt Beeson led the way for her team with 20 points. And I mean, unfortunately, I did not watch the match, but looks like it was a very interesting one. So Omaha went up 1-0 with a 25-20 set. Then Dallas tied it up 25-23. Omaha kind of looked like they were dominating at 25-15. Then it was Dallas 25-13 and then 15-9. Also, by winning that, they took home a match for $1 million, they were calling it. Yeah, $1 million they won, which is pretty sick. It's essentially the exact same amount you win for winning the VNL. So that's huge. Also, 4,598 fans at Comerica Center. I don't know where Comerica Center is. Where did they hold this final? I'm not entirely sure. I really don't know. But yeah, big shout out to Dallas Pulse for winning the MLV. Shout out to Shannon Windsor for winning her first year as a head coach. So once again, just more Canadians in the finals. More Canadians in the finals. Y'all want to, like, once again, we were in the finals, double final in League One. Kira Van Ryk won the Chinese League finals. We had Canadians in the Champions League finals too on the women's side, with Schmreck and Maglio both playing for Zashibashi. So yeah, lots of Canadian content in the finals around the world. And that's pretty much going to wrap things up. Unless there's any questions from the chat, real quick. I just want to say as well too, if you have been joining me for the watch-alongs over the course of this playoffs, I will continue doing watch-alongs for the VNL. I will not be doing a watch-along for the Champions League this weekend because I will be in the forest with my friends. So yeah, my partner might kill me if I try to do a watch-along and make watching volleyball a priority while we're all in the forest. But when I do my watch-alongs for the VNL, I will be doing them all on Twitch, especially because the way the VNL goes, where there's multiple matches a day at all times, I think it's just way easier for me to do a watch-alongs over on Twitch. I'll be in and out. So if you want to know when I'm live for the watch-alongs, join us over on the Volleyball Source Discord. I will be posting whenever I'm live there. And yeah. I'm just gonna go and go rip it during the VNL. People keep asking me if I'm going to be at week 1 in the VNL. I still don't know. I have not heard anything yet. So either I'm going to be there, which I'd love to be, obviously, or I won't be, and I'll be right here doing the exact same thing. So yeah, I will let you guys know. I would love the Everett Farhat Akbash romance to continue this year in the VNL, especially because they're playing, like, Japan and Canada are playing each other in a friendly on the 31st or the 1st. On May 31st, on the Sunday right before VNL starts. So I might be able to get in there. Problem is that I'm running I'm helping with a charity event in Toronto on the Saturday, where I'm doing a live stream there as well too. So I'm literally going to have to finish this thing at like 5 p.m. on the Saturday and leave. I'm going to try to get to Kingston, probably like sleep in the back of my car, or like sleep at my aunt's place or something. Who knows? And then drive the rest of the way, like wake up early in the morning on the Sunday and drive the rest of the way up to Quebec City, if I'm allowed to go. We'll see. It's also like a cost thing too. I got to see if I can find a way to finance it. But yeah, we'll see. I would like to be there, but I don't know yet. I know everyone keeps on asking me, but I still don't know. So yeah, appreciate you guys all tuning in. Love you all. I will be obviously coming out with other content throughout this week. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know in the chat, or let me know in the comments. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Bye.